Greetings! What is a fair price for silver? A very simple question with a not so simple answer. Because there's a lot of different factors that one must consider before answering it. And essentially it boils down to two different scenarios. One would be the type of silver that you are interested in purchasing. And in a previous video that we discussed in this series entitled Silver Basics, we talked about the various types of silver that are out there. And a fair price for silver depends on the type of silver that you buy. The other factor is the time period or the marketplace and the state of the market from which you are buying. And that is very fluid and changes as well. So those two types of things are going to determine what would be considered a fair price. You know, when you take into account the different types of silver that are out there, as discussed previously, typically you have three different categories when you strip it down to its most basic and fundamental, and that is what is known as numismatic silver, or silver that is derived from, that can be purchased, that has a collector value tied to it well above and beyond, and sometimes even independent of spot price. And spot price is essentially the price that you pay derived from the marketplace that is determined by various different agencies in the market itself, and it is divided into two categories. That is the bid price, or what is known as melt price, which is the price that is paid when you sell silver, and then or a basis off of the price of the bid price that you sell, and then the ask price, which is what the market is. And usually bullion dealers and organizations will sell based off of the ask price for silver. So numismatic silver is silver that is collector silver that is above spot price. Then you have recognizable bullion, and these are bullion coins that are recognized for their liquidity among different organizations out there. And organizations can mean entities, point of sale, bullion dealers, local coin shops, and individuals as well. Highly liquid bullion coins. And that's another category. And that typically is a slightly higher premium for those. And then also in that same category would be very higher premium, better bullion pieces that may have a limited mintage, but their price is still derived from the spot price of silver, although they're much higher. Premium collectible bullion is another category that one may take into account when purchasing. And so those prices are higher, but they still may be fair. And then the last category is the overall blanket category of generic silver, which is kind of an oxymoron because this is a silver bar, and it is typically known as generic, even though it has a brand name tied to it. But essentially that just means that the brand name, though it may have a recognizability tied to it, it is liquid basically because of the metal itself. And that is the main reason why it's known as generic. There's other things like rounds, this example, and then there's others that are known as, that have common designs that you would see, such as the Morgan dollar design, or the Buffalo, especially, is very popular generic bullion, where there may be a brand tied to it, but it is either not stamped on the round, or it is stamped with a very small notation, or in this particular case, it is branded on the piece itself. Here it is Engelhard. Engelhard is the brand name for this, but this would be considered a generic silver round. So those are the categories, and the price difference on those is quite substantial, but it does not mean that one is more fair than the other. So how do we determine if it's a fair price or not? Well, essentially, again, as I mentioned, it depends on the market at a particular point in time. If the prices are low and there's not as much demand, the premiums tend to be lower. Some would say for silver bars and rounds, that premium is about between 5 to 8%. And coins are typically 12 to 20%. And it's a pretty wide range. But a lot of that depends on where you buy. And also the time period, if there's a great demand. For instance, we are in a time now where on the tail end of a great demand for this coin, the American Silver Eagle. The American Silver Eagle is the premier silver bullion coin of the world, and its premiums have been very, very high lately, and the fair price for them has changed. There's a time where you could pay $3 over spot, and that would be considered a fair premium. Nowadays, about $4 or $5 over spot is considered fair. So it just depends on the market. And the best way to determine fair price is to understand the market from which you buy and do your due diligence and research different bullion dealers to find the best prices for any given product that you're interested in purchasing. There are silver bars that don't have any kind of denomination and are completely generic, tend to be the best deals that are out there for generic or off-brand bars. But there are high premium bars that are collector as well that carry a substantial premium to them. And they may not even have a limited mintage and still hold a premium because of the manufacturing process or what have you. Then you have other types of silver, such as poured silver, that will have a bit more of a premium because it is considered art. And so people will buy that. But sometimes that can be mass-produced as well and can have lower premiums. Then you have silver whose manufacturer costs aren't determined in their price, and that is what's known as spending, what I refer to as spending silver in this case, or generic or constitutional silver for American silver coins, or what people sometimes call junk silver, and that is a particular coin that has a spot price determination, and they're charged based off of the denomination. In other words, you may say, okay, we're going to charge you 11 times face. In other words, face value, and whatever. You just have to understand that fair price depends on what the market is going for at a particular time for this. But I would say that these coins, typically you can find the best value for them and probably a fair price, since there's really no manufacturing cost to them because they've already been produced. But typically you have to also look out for this type of stuff and make sure that it is not worn down to the point where you're literally losing value in the silver that has been worn from the coin. So be very careful when buying constitutional silver. And then there's other kinds of silver out there that are fractional bullion pieces that may look cool, but nonetheless they typically carry higher premiums. And so when you look at fractional silver of any sort other than constitutional, because again its manufacturing process has been completed by a government agency, this is not the case with the fractional generic or pieces that are out there that carry much higher premiums. And though there may be a fair price for these, considering what they are and the manufacturing cost, it may not be the best value for your purpose, which is your purpose is to accumulate weight. But nonetheless, the fair price of silver is really based off of what you and your diligence and exploration of prices from various different bullion dealers out there or local coin shops from which you buy. And understanding that what the price structure is, and understanding the different types is going to help you to determine that fair price. And that fair price is going to change, and it's going to be very fluid depending on the market. There are websites such as findbullionprices.com and others, agencies, or just your own homework of going out and searching on different bullion dealer websites, accredited bullion dealers that are rated highly by different rating factors out there, such as a Better Business Bureau, but I wouldn't rely totally on the Better Business Bureau to rate a bullion dealer. And other ways out there is to find their reputability, and also being safe in purchasing precious metals. If you see a price that is at spot or below, typically it's too good to be true. There are cases where legitimate bullion dealers will give an at spot deal. Those deals are very few and far between in the days of the recording of this video, but it used to be that you could find dealers that would provide at spot deals as sort of a loss leader, or very, very low price above spot for silver out there. Be cautious when you are shopping for those kind of deals, because though it may be a very low price for silver above spot, it may not be a fair price. And that is the key, the fair price, because a fair price means that it's value for your money, but also with of understanding what you have to pay after you pay that low premium, whether it be signing up to get coins in the mail unsolicited, or to be pestered by sales calls after the fact to try to get you to buy higher premium silver coins. So there you have it. That is really the answer for a fair price for silver. And really it all boils down to doing your own homework and understanding the structure of silver price and the types of silver that are out there. So there'll be more on this and other topics in subsequent videos to come in this series, Silver Basics. But I hope this really answered the question and helped you understand a little bit more about pricing for precious metals, especially silver, depending on the market, depending on the type of silver that's out there. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'd like to extend a multitude of gratitude to you all.